Broker compensation was a hot topic this summer. A lot of regulations changed with the current lawsuit that came out, and the Realtor Association settled for buckets and buckets of money in regards to compensation and how it's disclosed. Typically, a year ago, before the lawsuit happened and compensation changed, it was pretty common that the seller would pay buyer compensation. And that compensation was listed inside of the MLS. So I would look up a listing and it would say, 2%, or it'd say 3% or 5%, or whatever the seller was offering to pay the buyer's broker that was readily available. You could just go into the MLS and look it up and see. I think the spirit of the lawsuit and the spirit of the change is that if compensation is listed more or less for any particular property, that brokers might avoid showing the property. So let's say I was looking through the MLS and I found a unit and it was a 2% compensation. And then I found another unit that was a 4% compensation. The idea is that me as a broker, I'm going to put my own interests in front of my clients and I'm going to show them the 4%. So that's kind of the spirit of it. But really, in today's day and age, brokers are not able to bogart any listings. I mean, I have clients that will email me listings that they found on Zillow that have been on the market for a minute. They just went up. Like there's no possible way that I would be able to steer them away from any particular property. So now the compensation is not listed. And when I take on a listing agreement now, I negotiate my own compensation as a listing agent. And the buyer's broker now is required to have a buyer broker agreement with their client, which has been around for 2 decades. Most brokerages had a buyer broker agreement, which just simply stated, this is what I charge for my services. And generally speaking, I get paid at closing. The seller typically pays that. And if they don't, you're going to owe me this money. So that document has been around forever. So in many ways, nothing has really changed. Most people were already using buyer broker agreements. And if they weren't, now they are. So that has to be disclosed. A seller can still offer compensation to a buyer's broker, but they can't do it in the MLS. I can do it on Facebook. I could do it on TikTok, but I can't do it through the MLS system. Okay. And so what happens now is I get ready to maybe write an offer on a particular property, and I might call the broker and I will say, hey, is the seller offering any buyer broker compensation? And they'll say yes, they'll say no, this is what they're offering, or they'll say make us an offer. It's really interesting because the commercial market has always been like this. There's no guarantee of compensation. There's no promise of compensation. So if I have a building, let's say you and I are going to look at a property and you want to make an offer on it, I would put the offer together and let's say it's $1 million. I say it's $1 million and I'm going to charge 3% because that's what we have agreed upon in our buyer broker agreement. And I write the offer, and in the offer it says part of this offer is that the seller is going to pay me a 3% buyer broker compensation. And then that gets built into the contract. And so I've been doing on the commercial side since 2014, I've been dealing with buyer broker compensation and negotiating compensation directly. So it's really not that much different, but it can feel overwhelming. Hey everyone, Michael here with Absolute Real Estate. Thank you for watching. Do me a favor, like and subscribe below. And if you want more information on real estate and real estate investing, check out the links below, and I'll see you on the next video.